In this fast-paced and stressful era, have you ever felt nervous or even lonely for a moment? Welcome to our channel Woof Meow and Gossip, where you'll be on the same page as us. If you like this channel, please subscribe. 1. It's all the blizzard's fault. In just 1 week, the small town was hit by 3 consecutive blizzards. Kids were stuck at home, missing school, while adults needed courage just to step outside. Wallets were mercilessly emptied. Not only were roofs and fences battered by the fierce winds, but the endless snow shoveling left many residents with aching hearts and sore backs. The first snowfall came with a vengeance, lasting a full day and night. The snow piled so high at the front door and garage that it could easily bury a person. Mr. Shah stood by the window, debating whether to call a snowplow now or wait. The snow hadn't stopped yet. Clearing it now would mean clearing it again later. But if he waited, the snow might get so thick that even a small snowplow wouldn't stand a chance. While he hesitated, the phone rang. "Do you need snow clearing?" $30. It was the neighbor across the street. He had a small snowplow and had just tested it out in front of his own house. "Come over," Mr. Shah agreed without a second thought. Who knew when the snow would stop? Better to clear a path now than let the snow pile up any higher. The neighbor soon arrived, driving his little snowplow. The front yard and driveway were quickly cleared, but the thick layer of snow blocking the front steps wasn't as easy to deal with. The door barely budged. Memories of their first winter here flashed through my mind. When Mr. Shah had pushed the front door open with all his strength, only for the snow to charge inside like a wild horse, straight toward the bedroom. The sudden invasion had scared me and the kids out of our wits. That was the moment I realized how quickly accidents could happen during a snowstorm. Luckily, the house had a second, rarely used door with much less snow in front of it. Bundled up from head to toe, Mr. Shah trudged out through that door, sinking into the snow with each step, taking 10 whole minutes just to circle back to the front and clear the entrance. As soon as the front door opened, the dogs, cooped up for over a day, shot out like arrows from a bow. The cats weren't far behind, but froze in their tracks the second their paws touched the snow. They leapt onto the fence and refused to budge, clearly terrified by the icy white blanket beneath them. The next morning, the snow finally stopped. But overnight, the wind had sealed the door shut again, and the snow on the driveway was thicker than before. Before we could even figure out what to do, the phone rang again. "Need snow clearing? Come over," Mr. Shah answered without hesitation. Another $30. Painful, but at least the front yard and driveway were clear again. The kids' classes had been canceled for 2 days already, so while the roads were open, Mr. Shah rushed to the supermarket to stock up on groceries. He even bought extra treats for the cats and dogs. We barely caught our breath before the weather report issued another blizzard warning. This time, the forecast was spot on. The snow arrived on schedule, and within 10 hours, it had piled higher than the downstairs windows. We had to keep the lights on inside all day. As evening fell, the neighbor called again. "Need snow clearing?" Mr. Shah glanced out at the snowdrifts taller than himself and shook his head. "Your snowplow won't cut it this time." Without another word, he bundled up and disappeared out the side door into the storm. The one most anxious about his departure was Buddy. The dog jumped and barked by the door, desperate to follow him outside. Before long, the rumble of heavy machinery echoed from outside. A massive snowplow, the biggest we'd ever seen, slowly came to a stop at our gate. Moments later, Mr. Shah stumbled back inside, looking like a walking snowman. Buddy pounced on him, barking madly, turning the whole scene into a tearful reunion, as if they'd been separated by life and death. This round of snow clearing cost $50. Mr. Shah explained that he'd spotted the snowplow at a neighbor's house and called it over without hesitation. It was the biggest machine he'd seen in all these years. By the next morning, the snow finally stopped, but the drifts toward the sea had buried the fence entirely. Those would have to wait until spring to melt. For now, the snow blocking the front yard was the bigger problem. When the giant snowplow reappeared at the neighbor's house, Mr. Shah ran over and called it in again. Another $50. We barely had time to feel the pain of all that money spent before discovering that part of the garage roof had been torn off by the wind. Repairs would have to wait for warmer weather. This winter, Why was the snow so merciless? Don't forget to follow and like.